my name is Truel Paul, and I am presenting on should there be an increase in the minimum wage in the Bahamas. Introduction. Price controls are government-mandated minimum and maximum prices. There are two types of price controls. These include price ceiling and price floor. A price floor is a government-mandated minimum price for a good or service, while a price ceiling is a government-mandated maximum price for a good or service. Therefore, minimum wage is a price floor. In the Bahamas, the Minimum Wages Act and Employment Act defines the minimum wage rate and the time period for that rate. Recently, minimum wage rose to $5.25 per hour, which is also $42 per day for 8-hour day, and $210 per week. An increase in wages can affect the economy, especially due to the recent increase in VAT. According to David Newmark and William Washer, when minimum wages increase, a majority of cases have shown that the disemployment effect occur. This simply is when the poor and disadvantaged are unable to obtain employment opportunities in comparison to those who are skilled workers. The studies have also shown that employers will discover cheaper alternatives of production, such as equipment or other capital sources, and decrease the amount of low-skilled labor being hired. The results have also shown that an increase in minimum wage increases prices, which in turn decreases product and labor demand. Because all things being equal, persons demand more at lower prices. Participants involved in the study. 50% volunteered, including 20 University of the Bahamas students, and 30% were randomly selected from the public. The participants also included 15 males and 35 females. The age range is 18 to 70 years old with a mean age of 32. And the average yearly household income of the 50 participants was between $25,000 to $40,000 per year. The materials used to conduct the study. There were 11 questions asked in the form of a questionnaire. Questions were asked in connection to the topic. The response could have been open or Boolean, and personal information about the participants were asked, such as the age, the gender, and the household income, in order to get a clearer understanding of the topic matter. The procedure. Questionnaires were randomly and physically distributed. Participants anonymously answered the questions, and the volunteers for this survey were not compensated in no way in order to prevent a biased response to the topic. The results section of the presentation shows the questions that were asked, the response that could have been selected, and the percentage of the 50 participants that agreed with each response. An analysis of the results. Since the rise in VAT from 7.5% to 12%, Bahamians have requested an increase in wages to offset the rise in taxes. According to the questionnaire, 98% of the participants knew that the minimum wage rate is $210 per week. In addition, 74% of the participants indicated that the reasons why the minimum wage has remained the same over the past few years is because the government cannot afford an increase in public services wages. Also, the survey shows that 74% of the participants knew the government cannot afford an increase in public wages, yet 94% of the participants still believe that wages should increase. This also shows that 70% believe that minimum wage should increase by 10% or 20%, while another 10% of the participants believe that there should be no change in the minimum wage rate, while the remaining 20% believe that the minimum wage should experience an increase of 50%. Furthermore, 54% of the participants stated that there would be a decrease in consumption, yet the remaining 46% stated that an increase would result if both the minimum wage and taxation rose at the same time. On the other hand, 76% of the participants expressed that government debt would decrease, while 24% indicated that an increase would result if both the minimum wage and taxation increase at the same time. As expected, 96% of the participants believed that an increase would benefit society because spending would increase, resulting in economic growth and development. Although there is a high desire to increase minimum wages, 43 participants agreed that taxation policies should not be adjusted because the government is earning sufficient finances to fund public operations. The discussion session of this presentation starts off by saying that the Deputy Prime Minister, Peter Turnquest, stated as an increase in the minimum wage would have a deleterious impact on the economy. A rise in the wage rate leads to an increase in the cost of the good or services produced, eventually leading to a decrease in consumption and increase in unemployment. Furthermore, government debt would increase as the cost of labor in the public sector increases, resulting in persons being laid off or fired in order to accommodate this rise in costs. The projected revenue to be earned from VAT at the fiscal year end of 2019 is $1 billion. This amount has been planned to go towards the repayment of interest and principal to creditors. In a few years' time, the revenue earned from VAT should be able to put the country in a better financial state. Therefore, the government should consider in the future whether or not minimum wage should increase while they lower taxation in order to accommodate this increase. This would therefore assist in an increase in the standard of living for Bahamians and would help with the economic growth and development of the country. This is the end of my presentation.